Yeah, that's yeah. So that's the app that records stuff on Mac. Cool. So I'm a software engineer by trade. So I've been working for 3 years as a programmer, and then I started running a tiny recruiting company. We have four or five very close clients that we work with. So we try to match software engineers with jobs, and it's like only two people, like me and somebody who's not technical. So we share the work. So my colleague does the more general administrative stuff and like soft interviews, and I do technical interviews. And I do the whole, let's say, um, my interest for the recruiting sphere is actually already like 2.5 years. I'm dabbling in this sphere and try to find out, okay, what is bad things to avoid in recruiting. Because like actually 1 year ago I would give the talk how to hire software engineers as if there would be like an algorithm. But now, but now, as I'm more experienced, I actually found out. So this is already a finding that actually you have things you just have to avoid, like things that actually will destroy relationships, no matter if you are a candidate or a job seeker. So who like you? So like you're representing. So who's interviewing people on a regular basis from you guys? Okay, and who is yeah? When the others are not there, just like you're all programmers, definitely. Okay, so yeah, the ones who are interviewing people, you may be dealt with. Let's see. Let's get the start. Play it. Okay, now we have classical model name. So to start. Uh, no way. Like you put the pin there, okay. So try to log in, and then the nickname. It will ask you for a nickname, but it doesn't matter for how I configured it. So do whatever. I mean, you can do it also like it will not show who votes for what because there will be questions. So it doesn't really matter. You can just type in DDD or whatever, like some crap like there. No. So should be 5 people. Everybody playing. Who wants to play? It's loading or what?
Yes, it's loading.
Oh, really? Are you on mobile?
Yes.
Oh.
So what is it, classic?
Sorry?
It's a classic.
Yeah. I wonder if we start whether you can then join.
Think on the top right corner.
So anyhow,
It just started without me. It's
okay. Yeah, it's already fine. We'll just POC. Let's see if it's actually cool or not. So like the first question, like you maybe dealt with recruiters. So what's the worst about recruiters that you experience as a candidate, or as somebody who is hiring, talking to them? So people tend to say, okay, they're spam people, they're slow, they don't understand technology. So there are a lot of negative things. In the reason for that, because it is actually true, it's not. Yeah. So interesting. So like yeah, I mean, it is really true that spam works because just if you mail 1 million people about a Java job, one person will reply. That's why it continues happening. The same reason why Viagra spam is still there. One person is enough on 1 billion emails because the extra cost to send one more email is zero. So yeah, and so we have to live with this, and the market is very crowded, and you do have a couple of people that try to kind of make it a little bit better, but generally there's a lot of things that still need to be improved, like transparency and stuff like that. However, there's also like good things about recruiters or in-house recruiters. And in your opinion, so what's the best they can offer to you? So improving CV or help negotiate a higher salary, or that they really can tell you, like if it's an external recruiter, that what is really bad and good about the company. Okay, interesting. So that's true that I am. That's a bit funny because you said that they have no idea about technology, but now you're saying that they can help you improve your CV. So I can have a super funny example, like a friend who left Google after working there on YouTube for a long time, and then he went to there's a Swiss support agency that helps you to like improve CVs and improve your presentation. And they obviously don't understand, okay, this guy is like a very, very valuable software engineer who worked on like the most complex topics on YouTube. And they gave him the CV advice to please write at the top that he should mention that he's able to speak English. So this was very important to the so it's it depends really to whom you like talk to. And I actually believe that the negotiation of the salary is one of the highest impacting things that you can do if you change jobs, because this is usually what a programmer does once in 3 years, but the HR manager, the hiring manager, they do this every month. So they are very good at that. You're usually very bad at that. So either practice this with a friend, or like I actually have a slide about this. Later we can, in the end, if there's time, I can like give I have a bit of ideas on negotiation. But it's definitely something that's extremely undervalued. Often people sell themselves lower than they actually think. So here you do have just an opportunity to practice with somebody about this. So I actually do have even a slide. So we see here. So how to make 7,000 francs in 2 minutes. So we can look at it afterwards. So what do you think is the biggest pitfall when hiring engineers? Is it if you're a hiring company, so 3 of you are, so being slow, so replying late, having a social mismatch, having a technical mismatch, or like some other random factors that are long tail events in essence? Whoop. No, go back. How do I go back?
You don't.
Yeah. Wait, I can just go back and skip everything. No, but then you need a new ID, I think. Oh. Okay, anyway. So I'll tell the story first. So yeah, you can.
IT isn't
It's the same ID.
Yeah. But I have to put it around.
But I cannot click start. Ah, now, okay. But there was only one person. No, it will take forever now. What does it show on your phone?
I don't know what I mean.
It's the same thing?
Yeah, I'm in the question so I can answer.
Just click through. Just click
Yeah.
something.
I did.
Ah, skip. Yeah, true. You can still skip. Next. Ah, there's no skip now.
Time up.
Yeah, the biggest pitfall, we were here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now you click all again. But it says 0 answers.
Yeah.
Somebody-
I
Can
can
do.
No, okay, fine. 4th? There's one person missing again.
That's me.
You crashed?
Yeah.
Your computer crashed?
There
Okay.
you go.
Yeah, so definitely what I see happening, especially if you're a big organization, that usually HR is overworked, so they get little pay and have a lot of work. Internal HR, I mean. So usually or often with bigger companies, it's the slowness. With smaller companies, it might be either social or technical mismatch, which you cannot really. I mean, then it doesn't fit, right? But one thing is really random factors is really, because I've seen so many interviews by now that I have a lot of cases that I could talk a lot about. One very funny one is like an engineer who really did everything well. So he had interviews with like 6 people, everything is fine. But with one person, he fucked it up because he didn't knew the naive Bayes classifier, the formula for it. So the naive Bayes classifier, you remember all from school. So like, I mean, it's like under the condition of this, what is the probability this happening? This times this divided by this. So this guy didn't know. So this one so this one engineer, he used his veto, like, okay, we don't hire this person because it's not possible. Somebody cannot know this. And then nobody said anything, and it was like, okay, then. No. But one guy, he insisted that this cannot be, that this is the so one person stood up, and in the end they hired the person, and this guy ended up being really, really valuable to the team, so like extremely valuable, fixing a lot of things that were broken. So I want to show that. So like if companies come to me, they say, okay, I want to hire the best people, just send us the best people you have. And I answer, well, I mean, it's a bit like poker, right? I mean, the hands you get, this is what you do then with what cards you have. And then you have all these random factors that people don't like, some trivial things. And you have to be aware to not disqualify people for that or hire them because they went to the same university as you did. So I mean, it goes both ways, right? Cool. What is the most important thing on a CV? So is there tech? So some tech match. So you read like all the things you Java and stuff like that. Is it readability? Is it that he lives in, let's say, Zurich already, or is it like that is like an experienced guy and then the rest can be a bit fucked up like this maybe also. Why is there only 2 answers now? We are losing people along the way. No. Can't you log in or something? There's the pin on the light on the left. Yeah, 4. Very good. Right, okay, so tech mismatch, readability, location is not okay. Okay, cool. So, from if you work in the sphere, you then I started off looking at tech match, but now it's kind of, I see that actually if people are living far away, it becomes increasingly harder, exponentially. So if people are from China, then this is almost okay, we will not fly them in for this, it must be exceedingly perfect match then. So the location actually plays a role, especially for HR. So there's a bias towards that. How much effort do I have to organize flying this guy in? You see how especially if the organization is bigger, how you have silo thinking, leaving out excellent candidates, because let's say somebody is from maybe Eastern Europe, but actually the flight is very cheap and very close, and maybe he will still be disqualified because HR focuses on, oh no, then I have to go on 3 websites to buy a flight, stuff like that. And then another thing that goes along with this, because obviously what often happens is that you do have people filtering incoming things, right? And then you have readability actually being a huge dominant factor. So I have an example for that. A CV that was heavily improved. That's a guy, right? That works or a person that doesn't actually matter. You see, here's a table, languages. Then you have education. So he went somewhere to school, here's some school, obviously, oh, he quit, okay, already. And then it's work history. And then you have, okay, Python developer and large-scale Flask powered by PIM ERP system for corporate clients. I don't know what a PIM system is. I know what an ERP system is, but it's still not a good style to use a lot of acronyms and stuff like that. And I knew this guy. If I would get the CV, actually, I would having a hard time motivate myself to really interview the person and talk to him, because I mean the rest is also similar. So I see that he has actually, although he's very young, which we saw here, where I put it away, of course, he actually I didn't really describe what he did. So it's always small bullet points, especially and it has potential to be improved. So we interviewed this guy, and we put a picture, because it's a nice picture. I just put it away for presentation reasons, right? And then the amazing thing is that actually, we could figure out so that he wanted to apply for Python jobs and Elasticsearch. So it was a company where he wanted to work. They used Python and Elasticsearch. So obviously we put the technology up. So such the HR, they immediately see here that it fits, and then at this point they will also forward it. The second thing is that you see here, I can clearly see where, like, how long the guy worked somewhere. Whereas here, it's like, so he wrote, I think here, like until now or something like that. Now, without even like the months. And some write like, okay, like let's say 2015, like January 2015. But still I have to calculate, like, and imagine I get, like if you get like 200 CVs like in 2 days, how hard it is to calculate it in your head. So this is like really something that helps. And what is more important than later, so this is in the beginning like crucial, right? Because if he like, oh, I'm bored reading the CV because it's so hard to read, and I go coffee, then like something happens, and then the email is never read. And then people don't follow up, and it's like, why is this shitty company never replying to me? Yeah, because like HR went to go coffee because they were bored from your CV. And like literally, this is how people don't get jobs. This is what happens. So this is why I'm interested in this field, because you have so many problems. You can like fix the at least easy ones to fix, which is, for instance, this. So it's easier to read, so you can like skim it better. And also now the content improved heavily. So on the other hand, we had like did Python, right? Now you have single-handedly introduced Git flow, continuous integration, unit testing, clean code practices, static, so like qualitative things, right? So there was no Git like flow in like version control, but now he did introduce it in a 4-people developer team. So I clearly see numbers, what's happening here. Then he like worked on some tool that was used by 80 Swiss small and medium-sized enterprises. So I have some idea what is happening here, right? And then what I really stress a lot is if it's possible for you, reduce search queries from 200 to 20 milliseconds. So writing stuff like that is somehow not in the genes of the Germanic people. Like they're very bad at like pitching what they did actually in a very short way, but Americans are very good at this. So you would see stuff like that in an American CV much more often, which is much pleasant to read because as an interviewer, I can pick this up immediately. So I mean, this is things we worked at, and yeah, just structured it very similarly so you can skim it like super quickly, right? And the location also is here, so I can see immediately, location for foreign CVs is like citizenship and stuff like that, because, I mean, yeah, if people come from far away. So this would be those things. Cool. So readability and so getting through, like this is really important, and you can teach your HR to do this, or you can do it yourself if you like interview, right? So, like people ask, so I want to hire the best people. So what do you think? What do you have to do to really hire like open source contributors, thought leaders, like really people who are like actually get 10 job offers every day? Is it great pay? Is it team fit, tech fit? Is it transparency? Like, okay, no, the transparency in the hiring process.
How about none?
Oh, we have 5 people. You can join, by the way. Go on kahoot.it. Sorry?
What if it's other?
Yeah, it's other. Yeah. So yeah, I feel the same. People really care about like reading a really clear job specification and understand very quickly what the job is about. Obviously, yeah, the factors are very important as well. And I have to look at the job specification, I have brought something that I also like anonymized, but still it's kind of valuable. So this is what I would send, this is something that we developed. So we have immediately like the salary, we have like the bonuses you get. So you get free food, free lunches, you get like stuff. But this is not so important actually. So this one could put there, one doesn't have to, but you do the salary. You write the company size, the website, if there's some, because this went on an international job board, so yeah, I put it a little location thing, and like Swiss specific things, right? And then also the tech stack very, very high up as a front-end role, and then like, yeah, I mean, it's like, oh, that's actually a mistake here. So the founder, worked in New York. So who's the people? So who's the founder? Who's the person leading the company? And in the role, the front-end engineer needs to be able to talk to business people, UX researchers, and non-technical people. So this is crucial this will kick out a lot of people, like a lot of engineers who say, okay, I want to work on a product and be like with technical people only because those people exist, right? And this is like a little bit about the team, right? Yeah.
Isn't this something that the companies expect you to figure out? That when you prepare for the interview, they want you to know the background of the company, the size of the company, the history of the company.
So that's true, but for it's in most cases that's impossible, and this is why recruiting agencies exist. Because in my head, actually, this is the thing I mail or like show to people to so the engineer can very quickly understand. But in my head, I have actually another thing that looks more like this. So it's a so because it's for me, it's like in Sublime text, and so you have the same thing, but you have like different things as well here. So you have like most attractive, so questions about the most attractive thing. You have special things, right? Or like I also put tech fuck ups here. So if they like, I don't know, used MongoDB or stuff like that. And sorry, I'm not one of them. Like questions that I should ask come here. So I'm like, okay, so they like, so it's important for them that the opinion on the framework matters more than the framework know-how. So this is one of the key things with this company. So in my head, I have this gigantic YAML file, and then also like weights. So they use like front end and then Vue.js heavily, and then yeah. So this is my internal representation, and this is what I use for telling software engineers what to expect. And this is very hard to put on a website, because for every company that looks different, and so and the fields are different, so it's unstructured data. That's what makes recruiting actually hard. We don't have a standardization at all. Cool. And yeah, regarding pay, I actually feel that it's often, especially with like junior, medium roles, it's better to pay people at the beginning less, but then regularly increase such that the feel is there for like, hey, I did something, rather than what actually like a bit more traditional companies do. They overpay in the beginning, but then they raise like not at all. And then people like, actually right now I have the feeling in the market, like I know like 3 or 4 people, they left because the pay was not all right. And this is normally not, I mean, it's not generally not the overall driving factor. Maybe it's kind of also random. It's hard to say. So you see that work satisfaction is different than like this is just a fun question. I wanted to put it in the beginning, but I put it in the end now. It's like you don't have to. This will lead. The next question will be relevant to that. Oh, we are increasing in numbers. Very good. Okay. Cool. Cool. Nobody, 0 with the blue one. That's nice. Cool. I mean, yeah, it's hard to say like why. I mean, why people actually change jobs. There are so many factors, right? So this will be the next question. Oop, sorry. Yay. Oh, yes, we are. I will screenshot this. I will tweet this to Socrates' Twitter account. Yeah, this will be too huge. Wait, I have to like do something like this. No. Okay.
Great question.
Oh,
Where you put
that's
it
true.
in.
Yeah, that's true. I put it in the text, or like both, and I decide later. Cool. Wow, such a idealistic response. This is amazing. Yeah, I mean, so like I saw a couple of times that definitely both, like, so when problems are, so it's when it's repetitive, but also like if the boss changes or they joined and then just the one actually you have to report to is somehow like a problematic person. This is also often a driving factor. And yeah, I mean, I think like in the US, it's maybe like often people change more often than in Europe, but generally it is probably when people want to develop and stuff like that. So this would be my last question actually. So we can like you can ask questions or we can discuss things that you think are valuable for asking. Okay, how to make recruiting a bit better. Do you have anything you want to share? Your experience hiring people or interviewing with companies?
I have one. I see to, in my experience as an interviewer and when I've been one of the interview, I see that some company go more for like algorithm questions at the beginning. Other companies are more about technology, more like doing an exercise to put up a web service in 2 seconds with all the technology you know. Just be quicker and solve it. What, in your experiences, you are doing recruiting for work? What do you think it's more effective to select the right candidate?
So it depends. Like it depends on the company. That's why you have with Google and Facebook, you have those algorithmic questions because first of all they have problems at scale. So those like big O questions and what happens if this algorithm like should scale, that applies to problems they actually have. Also, they have due to the brand that they just have so many applicants, like they have to kind of filter. And they do this like a bit challenge. Like even if you ask Google engineers, they say, okay, yeah, this algorithmic questions somehow it is related to the job because like the work is at scale. But then on the other hand, I know a couple of Googlers that would say that these questions are super stupid and actually only there to like make you jump through hoops. So just to make you repeat the fundamentals of like data structures and algorithms and see if you go through the effort to do this to apply at these big brand companies. With company like so like 99.999% of companies, they are not having a big brand. They're either normal engineering firms that do have like very good, some of them, like I tried obviously to work the ones where I see, okay, the engineering practice is very good. So it's not so it's very solid engineering there that is definitely on the level you would find at Google and Facebook. But those companies, the smaller ones, they don't have the brand. Therefore, they cannot, they don't have those inbound, like 10,000 applicants per week that mail them first. And second, they also have to sell themselves. So for those companies, it's often the case that other approaches are better. Like looking at the person exactly, sending something that, a coding challenge that is related to the company itself. What I always like, what I make the companies ask to the candidates, if the like coding challenge, if it's like 4 hours, 5 hours, if it should be paid. And I like I really recommend this to, because most engineers will actually be surprised by that and they will say no it's okay I get, but I mean it shows like value, because like if somebody is looking for a job and he applies at 5 companies and every of those 5 companies give them like a big homework, then like after 3 or 4 they will be like, yeah, what the fuck, I'm not, or if they're still working, they cannot like do a homework which is like 2 days. So it should be, so at least it should be asked that you pay for that, right? Which is actually like not so common, but I would say it's it's a like a good signal. So it's like homeworks are very good. and then like the process I would like, let's see, they usually see is like, yeah, like this, right? So you have a CV, then you have a short call to see if like if the person is good at general like engineering things, and then you do some bigger maybe coding part, and then you do the on-site discussing this. This is a process that works often quite well. So yeah, and this should, in my opinion, this should be paid, but many companies don't do it anyway. So
Do you
yeah.
think that a live coding interview is a good challenge? Live coding.
Yeah, you can do it during this, right? I mean, and yeah, I mean, yeah, you have to see like that the nervousness isn't killing like the person and stuff like that. So yeah. You want to learn about that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. So, like, I mean, I actually think it's important because, like, especially bigger companies, they ask for your current salary, and it can be used against you, right? So they ask how much, because some people I know, they really made huge jumps from let's say 80 to 120. And this will not happen if you say, okay, I make 80 now, then the employer will be like, okay, now you will make 85. And then that's really bad for you, right? And actually, like, I had problems in the beginning with this when I was programming, especially because I didn't have experience. And I didn't understand that asking for more money, for you, 7,000 a year more, it can mean whether you can buy an apartment or not in 10 years. But for the company, it has no impact. Like for one person, pay 7,000 more, that's really little impact. That means you are in a kind of a situation where you should be reasonable, but also like make things happen for yourself. Because in the end, it's a business transaction. So they want your time, and you should be compensated for that. So postponing this discussion. So if you ask in the beginning, try politely to postpone it with the having the reasonable understanding that you want to learn how you can add value to the company. So you want to understand what to do in the job, and then you can really argue, hey, I can help with this, and that. So you should. I would suggest really push it out as far as you can. And if they ask, and they can, like at bigger companies, they ask until you tell it, then you just ask, okay, please don't use it as a benchmark for negotiation later. So.
But can't you do both? Like, okay, this is what I earn now, but in the future I want to get this, use this as a benchmark. Like,
but then,
would you accept that as a recruiter?
You will then lose this possibility if you're at the moment underpaid, that you make a big jump, because it will be funny for you a little bit, and it will be they will not feel I mean it's somehow a bit less realistic, I would believe, to make the big jumps, right? So but like what I hope, like what usually the best case sort of is, so you have the interview, you have the phone interview, you have the on-site, everybody loves you, you have this discussion with everyone, and then at the end, like they went through this whole process, like absolutely long process, lost a lot of money and time on talking to you, and then the moment they say that they want you, like the power structure changes. So now they have all these costs accumulated. So before that, it's kind of, you have to sell yourself, you have to show where the match really is. It's your responsibility to explain how you can bring value. But the moment you get the yes, that okay, we want you, it's all this cost accumulated for them, and then they will like do everything to get you, basically. And what I like, what really works, if like somebody asks, okay, Mr. Johnson, would it be okay for you to work for us for 105,000 Swiss francs?
Yes.
No, that's actually what I think is very good. So to stay, you did it perfectly. Like to stay cool, let it sink in, and the HR person, out of like social awkwardness, they might like add something, right? And there's a cool blog post about this from a programmer, from a female programmer who negotiated 15,000 at a company. So you should check it out and read and see if you can include this in your like negotiation at some point in the future, because I think it's really a valuable skill that people have to really learn. So yeah, sure. So yeah, please. I hope that you could like get some value out of this short talk.
Also, what I usually do is this: if someone go into a company and into an interview and they ask me about money, I always say I don't care about money.
Okay.
Let me see if I like you, and I like what you can provide me. It's what you can provide for me, not what I can provide for you. And in the end, we will see if it's okay. And then if they insist, I say, okay, what is fair for this company and what is fair for the market? What do you think? And usually recruiters say, yeah, we don't know. We need a number. And if they really want the number, say, okay, I'm telling you what I think would be fair for me. I'm going with really, really high number. But usually it's not about the money. If they don't want you, it's never the money.
Well, I mean, for small companies,
Yes.
it can be, but generally that's true. That's true.
Yeah, say, okay, look, in the end, there is some room for negotiation, but it's easier to negotiate from a high number.
Yeah.
And we have to say, okay, it's only 130k. Oh, okay. I take it.
So you can always also give ranges. This is what HR likes, so they give range. So the range we can offer you is like the, and then you can say, okay. So this is one trick in the beginning. If they want a number, like maybe you mentioned a range, they will be happy with that.
Or you ask for the range.
Or you ask for the range, exactly. But generally, like one should, before this negotiation part, one should actually be like very humble. So like, I have actually some developers that they are divas and they are like, yeah, I'm so much worth, I'm a developer, la la la. If I sense this, like it's over actually. So this is also a sickness people have if they think, I'm super valuable, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, like this is not a professional approach. So you can. That's what I said in the beginning, and I really want to like to stress this. So there's no right process, but there are definitely things to fuck it up. They're like landmines that you please try to not hit. So being like yeah, I'm like such a PhD, da 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 da. It's like okay. And actually, also underestimated the. I thought in the beginning, okay, technical like match will be like 70%. And the rest will be like about, social things. But actually, the social aspects, they are much higher. And people crash, or relationships crash much more because of that than because of not be able to write TypeScript or stuff like that. Yeah, so. Yeah. This is maybe a last interesting thing. If you haven't seen this before, then those were like 300 people who performs well as a software engineer. So there was a correlation between the frequency of typos in the resume and having worked at like Facebook or Google were really important. However, going to Stanford, like Bachelor Science in CS, so this didn't matter at all whether you perform well as a software engineer in the end. So I like this statistic because it shows a funny correlation in here, and this is expected, I believe. And this is maybe also counterintuitive. Like people who went to good schools, they think like this. I really hate this. So I also went to the high brand school, but like people who come from there that actually like identify based on that, like this is not a very good sign. Yeah. Cool. So let's see yeah, generally it's an interesting topic that should get more attention. I hope you got some value out of that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.